The last step in making your coffee mug is pulling and attaching a handle to the mug body. So I have the mug body, it's trimmed. You'll want to pull your handle the same day that you trim, that way things don't dry up on you. So to get started, you'll need a piece of clay. You can see how big it is in comparison to my hand. A Federally knife, a bowl of water, a container of slip, and a glazed container. To pull the handle, you're going to start by just squeezing the clay into a thick coil, or the beginning of a thick coil, like this. You'll hold the clay with your non-dominant hand, so I'm holding it with my left hand, and then your right hand is going to be dipping into the water and pulling down on the clay. Now you don't want to squeeze real hard, you're just kind of going down the clay, not really squeezing that much. And it's kind of a gradual process. And again, I'm only using my right hand, my left hand is holding the clay. You don't want to get both of your hands wet, or else, you know, it's hard to hold on to the clay. So I'm squeezing the clay with the space between my thumb and my index finger, and kind of pulling down just a little bit. And I keep rotating my clay because I don't want the handle to get too thin one way, but it's sort of an even rounded handle. So very slowly the clay pulls down. You want to make sure you pull a handle that is long enough. It's better to pull one longer than shorter, because you can always trim it. And you can see now it's starting to get pretty smooth. Probably going to end up cutting this part off. If I squeeze too hard at the end, it's probably going to break off, so I'm just going to not use that part. And you don't want to make your handle too thin, so I'm getting close to where I need to be. That's probably about good. I'm going to just pinch the end off, and then I'm going to pinch at the top. And now what you'll want to do is put it around something so that you can make it rounded, like a handle. And the next step for this would be to hair dry the handle so that it is not super wet, that it will dry up a little bit closer to leather hard, and then it will be easier for me to attach the handle. So at this point you'll want to take this over to the hair dryer and dry it, and just kind of keep touching it until you can feel that it's getting a little less soft. I already have a handle that I made and dried right here. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to attach this to the mug. Okay. So first I'm going to get some paper towel and dry my hands off. And you want your handle to be, big enough so that you can hold the handle. The most common thing I see is people who make handles too small and they can barely even fit one finger in the handle. So you can kind of position it first. You can see this is a lot more leather hard than this one. And that's kind of a big handle, so I'm going to trim this down a little bit. Just using a Federally knife. Cut the other end just to make it even. And it looks like that's a good handle and a good placement of the handle. You can be more creative with the handle if you want. If you want to have it like curl out, you could do that. So now what I'm going to do is score and slip the handle to the body. So score the body, and then you're going to score the handle itself on the ends, or however you choose to attach it. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of slip. And then make sure it's really pressed on there, and then I'm going to smooth the clay to the body like this with my finger. You could also use a paintbrush or a tool to do this, but I'm going to make sure that it's really secured on there so it's not going anywhere. Okay, now you could leave it on its side like that to dry. If the handle is still too soft, you could also prop it up by putting, whoops, I need to attach this a little bit more at the top here, I just noticed. You could also prop it up by putting, you know, something underneath of it or something between it, like a sponge. A sponge is especially nice too because it is soft and it will form to whatever you put it on. So I could do it like this. Handle can be just positioned how you'd like it. So maybe like that. Now the last thing is to just let it out to dry. You may also want to scratch your initials in the bottom. Oops, I noticed that this is coming off now. That's why it's important to really attach things. Okay, so I'm going to leave this out to dry, and when it's dry, don't worry about sanding it. When it's just completely dry, it doesn't feel cold anymore, you're going to put it straight on the shelf to go into the kiln.